Hello and welcome. I'm Russ Rodgers, and today I would like to introduce you to my R&B bass line series with this fun-to-play R&B line in the style of some of the artists from the 1970s. A lot of the R&B songs from this time period had some really cool and fun bass lines. We will first go through the line note by note to get the fingering and count down. Then we'll rehearse a line with a play-along track, first at a slow tempo, then at a medium tempo. So get your bass out and tuned up and we'll get started. If you need help getting set up and or tuned up, please check out my free and premium videos on these subjects. Let's first check out the fingering and count for measures 1 and 2. Okay, our first note of measure 1 is going to be a 3rd finger 5th fret note on the A string. Our next note is going to be a 1st finger 3rd fret note on the D, going to a 2nd finger 4th fret note on the D, back to the 3rd finger 5th fret note on the A, to a 1st finger 3rd fret note on the A, then to an open A. Then we're going to a 3rd finger 5th fret note on the last note of measure 1. That'll tie into the first note of measure 2. And then we follow that with another 3rd finger 5th fret note on the A string, to 2 1st finger 3rd fret notes on the A string, to 2 open A's, to a 1st finger 3rd fret note on the A string, back to an open A. All right, measures 1 and 2 slowly with a count. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now for measures 3 and 4. Okay, measure 3 is really just like measure 1. So going from the 1st finger 3rd fret note on the A, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, just like we did before. All right, so the next note after the tied note in measure 4 is going to be another 3rd finger 5th fret note on the A string, and then reach your 1st finger to the 2nd fret on the D string for the next 2. Then bring the 1st finger up a fret to the 3rd fret on the D string for the next 2 notes, and then winding up measure 4 with a 2nd finger 4th fret note on the D string. And then that'll take us into measure 5 with a 3rd finger 5th fret note on the D. Okay, let's do measures 3 and 4 slowly with a count. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Let's look at measures 5 and 6. All right, first note of measure 5 is going to be a 3rd finger 5th fret note on the D string, to a 1st finger 3rd fret note on the G, to a 2nd finger 4th fret note on the G, to a 3rd finger 5th fret note on the D, to a 1st finger 3rd fret note on the D, then to an open D, then back to the 3rd finger 5th fret note on the D string, which will tie into the first note of measure 6. The second note of measure 6 is again going to be a 3rd finger 5th fret note on the D, then to 2 1st finger 3rd fret notes on the D, to 2 open Ds, then back to the 1st finger 3rd fret note on the D, and then winding up measure 6 with an open D. All right, measures 5 and 6 slowly with a count. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Time for measures 7 and 8. All right, measure 7 is just like measure 5, except it doesn't tie into the next measure. All right, so it's going to be again 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 just use your same fingering, you know, and obviously the same count. All right, first thing's happening in measure 8 is a rest, so we don't do anything on the actual first beat, but on the upbeat of beat 1, we have a first finger 2nd fret note on the A string, then a rest on beat 2, and then take the first finger up to the 3rd fret note on the A string for the next note, then a rest on beat 3, and then the next note's going to be on the upbeat of 3, which will be a 2nd finger 4th fret note on the A string, then a rest on 4, and the upbeat of 4 is going to be the same note again, 2nd finger 4th fret note on the A string. And you'll make these notes in measure 8 short too. All right, measure 7 and 8 slowly with the count. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, which you'll take that 3rd finger to the 5th fret on the A string to start the line over again. Now let's do the whole line slowly with the count. 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 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 3 and 4 and 1. Now let's do the line with a slow tempo track. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, let's do it with a medium tempo track. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Thanks for spending this time with me, and I hope you enjoyed learning this bass line. I invite you to check out my other free and premium videos, especially my R&B series. Until next time, this is Russ Rodgers, and I'll see you then.